Risings. Microphone check. I hope my sound is well. I want to say grand risings to everyone on this holiday. If you don't know who I am, my name is Miss Grace. We're going to be waiting for the notifications to go out. Today, we're going to be talking about what's going on with the National Guard. All right, so if you don't know what I do here, 3 days a week, we come on in the morning and we talk about what's going on in politics, but from a critical thinking perspective as well as a non-biased perspective. Just to make the audience aware, I am not a Democrat, Republican, or liberal, whatever everybody wants to call. I'm a separatist. So you will be hearing this from a different perspective, okay? Separating from the BS is what I do. So grand risings, grand risings. Now today, I was going to talk about Trump war against black women is failing. Yeah, but we're not going to celebrate too fast. We'll say that for tomorrow because there was breaking news. Breaking news. Two guardsmen were shot in Washington. Now, why I named the title Is This a PSYOPs? Because you guys know I'll be thinking. I'll be thinking. Hit the like button as you come in. Let me know if you can't hear me so I can fix my mic and let me know can you hear everything when we start to show y'all video. But my little spidey senses went up. And I was like, okay, here we go. We're going to go over the details, but the reason why my spidey senses went up, because you already know there's some heat that's left in Chicago. And it has to do with the FBI director, not the FBI director, the Border Patrol. And I got a little confused because they both actually, their personalities remind me of each other, and I'm not too fond of that. But we're going to look at what he says. And I do believe that these two firm supporters of Trump are going to face some heat for some things that they have done. And now they need a deflection. So, in my eyes, if a National Guardsman, I know y'all like, that's not the Border Patrol, but they out there doing the same thing, gets hurt, that's going to kind of change the tone of some of the things that we saw in the past, where I think they're trying to distract you guys from, and I'm going to bring it up. Let's go. All right, thank you for being here. That was a long-winded introduction. Let's go. Happy holidays to the ones that celebrate. If you're cooking in the kitchen, I'll keep you company.
Guard have been shot here in Washington. The details are still coming in, but this is developing as we speak. The D.C. Police Department calling this incident critical, but saying that the scene is secure. One suspect apparently has been taken into custody. I want to bring in our NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach, who's joining us now live here in Washington. And Gary, again, being transparent, there's still a lot we don't know, other than obviously the shooting of two members of the military just moments ago here in D.C.
Yeah, we do know the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is saying two members of the National Guard were shot. This is happening in downtown Washington, D.C., just about 3 blocks north of the White House in the 17th and I area. If you're familiar with Washington, D.C., it's right near Farragut Square in Metro Stop. This is a multi-agency response, as you can imagine, when something like this happens in the nation's capital. You have Metropolitan Police, you've got Secret Service, the Department of Homeland Security on site. And this is a commercial area. It's full of businesses and shops. It's somewhere that there's not a lot of residential area, but certainly a place where a lot of people would be, especially on this Thanksgiving week as we get into the holiday. Now, the National Guard has been here in the nation's capital for months. We're talking about more than 2,200 members of the National Guard that is on duty in Washington, D.C., from 7 states and the District of Columbia. There are constant presence around metro stations around the city. There are constant presence around the national parks in the area, federal land in the area. What we do know now from the situation is that we know a medical helicopter had landed on the National Mall and flew to Washington MedStar Hospital Center. That would certainly indicate that there were some serious injuries involved with the members of the military who were injured in this shooting. They were then taken to...
Let's stop right here. There's some things I just want y'all to highlight. One of the things he said is that it was over 2,200 members of the National Guard there and officers in Washington patrolling. Remember that this is the first location that Trump deployed, all hell when it came to ICE and getting the National Guard to put their feet down. Now, we're going to take note that this happened a couple of blocks away from the White House as they continue to talk, which we know should have a large presence of officers, especially around this time of the holiday. So we just going I'm just thinking, I'm just putting some stuff together. Let's continue to listen because my question is, how did this happen? Okay, we have a lot of intelligence. We have a lot of cameras. Those cameras can be monitored in live time, and I do believe that they are. Those cameras that you see as you drive, that's scanning the plates and stuff. The technology has gotten so good that there has become an issue with maybe I'll share with you over the weekend when we do reactions where people are being stopped just because suspicious driving. What does that mean? The cameras are catching the actual plates, and if the plates go back and forth like a short time, like go into, like for instance, if I go into New York for a half an hour, like I go right over the bridge and come right back, I may get dinged to get pulled over, especially if it's like a high value drug area. For instance, like I'm coming from Newark to Harlem. They sell a lot of, things out there. That will make you a target. So I'm saying that to say if that's happening around the United States, it has to be happening right there in Washington, where everyone knows the king is at, the king of the United States. Let's go.
The National Mall at the Ellipse area that's just south of the White House, and then flown by helicopter over to MedStar Hospital in Northeast Washington, D.C. Now, the National Guard here has been on the ground in D.C. for weeks and months, and they're here to make D.C. safer. They're here and stationed across the city to provide a deterrence from the crime that the administration has said has been happening nonstop here in the city. And we have, when you look at crime numbers, actually seen a decrease because of their deterrence. But of course, an incident like this putting everybody on edge, Hallie.
Gary Grumbach, thank you very much. What a good word.
So let's just think about that. Shout out to NBC News. A situation to put everybody on edge. Now, you know what we do? We listen to different broadcasts so we can see how the news mutate and escalate. Something's going to change. Something's going to be a little different. At first, it was like they were just hurt. Then now you're going to see how it basically escalate that they're in critical condition. So I want to first send love to these officers. No one deserved to get shot, get hurt. But I have been seeing, you and me have been seeing the escalation that has been going on between ICE, the National Guard, versus the people. So sad, but true. Now, what I did notice is that the National Guard, I haven't seen them participate in aggression towards the people as much as the other agencies. But again, we're still trying to figure out how this happened so close to the White House, where they have such high technology and monitoring going on. I got my Spidey sense. Well, let's go. Now let's put our favorite Cash Patel. Guys, he's in the same category as Bavano to me. My spirit doesn't say too many good things, but we're gonna listen. Let's see what he has to say. Blessings, Z. How are you? Welcome back. Happy holidays. I hope you enjoy your family, guys. It's all about love. It's not about spending. We're gonna talk about that, because we're gonna dent some pockets these next couple of days. I'm gonna be putting that post up there and talking to you guys. But it's about us loving each other and spending time. So if you're in the kitchen cooking, I'm gonna be keeping you company. I got some food cooking, guys. Y'all know if y'all didn't watch my live yesterday on my food giveaway, y'all got to meet my baby girl, little Levi. So she's here. So we want to have a nice dinner because, she'd be away all the time. So we're going to be kind of celebrating with you guys, too. I got something in the oven. So if you hear something go beep, 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 that means something in the oven. So let's go. Let's figure out what happened.
Brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners, to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA, and we're thankful for the mayors assistance in this matter. The Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because this is a matter of...
Now remember, you hear what he said. He said gun shootings in these areas is phenomenal. Basically, what I'm hearing is this is a business area. This is a nice area. You know, I'm probably middle class, but gun shooting is not normal here. Okay, and I do believe, hopefully, if this is the area, I don't know, but we're going to try to look into the area and see, because someone is saying like this is a really nice area, and I know it has a lot of cameras. I'm going to have to highlight that, so we're going to see what comes out. They caught the guy pretty fast, allegedly, but let's let the developments keep going.
Pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world, please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. I will now turn it over to Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you.
We're going to listen to a little bit of him, and I think we're going to come back to this to kind of compare and contrast, because I have an article that said that it wasn't as critical as this, but as what they're saying. So I'm kind of confused. Hold on a second. I'm kind of confused. Let's go to this one right here. I think this is the one that said they were just shy. Here's the latest. The suspect. This is okay. Now hold on one second. This is about the suspect. I'm gonna locate the article because one of the articles I had pulled up, it wasn't saying that the assailant was critically shot. Okay, so I'm going to pull that up because I saw a progression, and that's what I want to show you. It says the suspect accused of critically wounding the 2 National Guard members in the shooting near Washington, D.C. White House on Wednesday entered the United States in 2021 through the refugee program for people fleeing Afghanistan. So this is what I want y'all guys to highlight. There's some aspects to this. And once they highlight this, that means that Trump is going to go after it. 1, refugee programs. He's been going after these particular programs, but this is going to make him gun harder when it comes to us allowing people to come in under the guise that their life is on the line, things like that, amnesty. He's already hitting it really hard. So this is going to create precedents. Does this make sense? When you get an example, you know, especially of something that happened like this in such a time like this is what he's going to take to back his case. But Afghanistan, let's keep this in mind because this is going to highlight the concept of our best friend, you know, the one that I don't like, terror. Miss Terror is a physical, mental thing. It's how can I say, spend our money thing just to prepare people not to have terror in their country. Terrorism. So when I hear Afghanistan, it brings back terror. Okay, so that's what I think Trump is going to do. Use this as a point of deflection to highlight that we have terrorists, and push more of what's going on with the immigrants and the migrants and ICE. Okay, I'm just highlighting something. He may come with a new bill or something. This is what I'm kind of thinking. Okay, in the midst that there's a lot of critics that's going against what's happening as far as ICE behavior and Border Patrol. Now, it says Homeland Security Secretary confirmed on social media that the suspect had entered from Afghanistan in September 2021 under Biden area. You know, we got to blame Biden for everything. Program called Operation Allies Welcome. Now, you know I'm not a Democrat or Republican, but that just brings bells to me because you know how my friend, you can be my friend as long as you're an enemy of my enemy, even if I don't trust you. And it kind of makes me think about those conspiracies around 9/11 and how those people were trained here. We know that's the truth. Now, I'm not going to take it to that 9/11 because that's very sensitive. But what I will say is that the people who allegedly was the people who did it and made both of them buildings melt down, um, they were trained here. Okay, so it's not too far off. You see how the left throws something in and the right throws something in. We just be in the middle highlighting some stuff. So we doing a little deep diving because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So, which provided entry to Afghanistan's nationals fleeing from the Taliban takeover of their country after their chaotic withdrawal from the United States troops. Now, again, if y'all don't remember how Tara, I'm gonna call it Tara because Tara is special. It's Tara, you know what I'm talking about. But Tara, you know what they do. They have people come in from other countries, as you see, or we go into their countries, and we start to train them to help them fight terror. And sometimes we make deals with them, not only for minerals or access to their country, but sometimes to work different projects for us. I.e., I'm just throwing this out here. Shout out to Candice. I think she's okay. But you see how all of that, she's talking about the French government, da da da, ya ya. That is all related to cross ties between countries, helping each other do certain things and kind of keeping their hand third party. Does that make sense? Where I'll get my friend of my enemy to do something. We meet right here in the middle, even though I don't like you. Does that make sense? Let's just keep this in mind. What we talking about? Just pile this all up. I'm gonna add it together, and it's gonna make sense because my spidey sense is going. Officials give an update on the shooting of the two National Guards. So let's just listen to this update real quick. I want to say thank you guys for joining me this morning so I can keep you guys updated. Hey, highly favored. Definitely to the people who work or are busy every day and they're not constantly on YouTube trying to get alternative news. It's always good to look at alternative news because if you just look at the news that's in your area, it's going to shape your mind the way your politicians want you to think and those particular broadcasts. That's why we like YouTube and looking at different people's news, not just Democrat or Republican. So here goes the identity of this person. So let's see if the identity is suspect because it made me think of some things. Where is this guy from? We said Afghanistan, but what was he doing here while he was here? Let's see if they're going to give us some information. And this is a preemptive 8-ball, y'all. Y'all remember I kept saying we have sleeper cells here, right? Yeah. This may be a sleeper cell. This is what I'm saying. In the midst of all our chaos and they attacking Americans and not actually coming up with a comprehensive plan to get criminal immigrants that came here, doing all that crazy stuff, like trafficking, slaughtering guns, and, this right here is what I'm talking about. So I do think it's a sleeper cell. So this is an example because I kept bringing this up like, y'all, we got sleeper cells here. We got sleeper cells. But let's see if the information provides that proof.
90 seconds or so, a suspect has now apparently been identified in that shooting of 2 National Guard troops in D.C. I want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. All right, Tom, bring us up to speed.
Yeah, Howie, 4 senior U.S. law enforcement officials briefed on the investigation say they've identified the man they believe is responsible for shooting of those 2 National Guardsmen who are now in critical condition. They've identified the individual as Rob Manula Lockenwall. Date of birth is February 9th, 1996. Last known address is...
Hold on. Wait a minute. Let's stop. Let's slow that down. Y'all know I'm writing it down, right? We can see if we can find some information about him. But why they giving all of this information? They saying date of birth and everything. They want us to go look into this or something? Let's play this real quick. Wait, he was going too fast.
This individual was identified through... he did not have an ID on him. We have a photo of him being... Date of birth is February 9th, 1996. Last known address is in Bellingham, Washington. This individual was identified through... he did not have an ID on him.
Okay.
We have a photo of him being put into a stretcher, had been stripped of his clothing or had very limited clothing, apparently at the time of this incident occurring, as he targeted these 2 National Guardsmen, used a...
Wait. Okay, let's listen. I'm trying to listen. First and foremost, They done gave docs this man. Did y'all ever hear somebody get they birth date of birth and everything put out there? That's a little weird. And his address, I wrote it down, y'all. Maybe I can find some stuff. But the next thing that's suspect, because we're listening in detail, and I'm gonna let it play back consistently. But they say he was half naked. Let's go. What's going on? Like, we're learning this in true time because I was like, let me just get up. My spidey senses is telling me something, but we're going to investigate this. This investigation together, y'all. Okay, so the questions that I'm asking y'all right now is what I usually ask myself when I'm looking through different videos about stuff, so I can make sure I have a comprehensive understanding of what I think happened. Okay, so that's what we're doing right here. And you guys figure out what you think happened. I'm just asking some questions.
Used a handgun to commit it. Apparently, is an Afghan national guardsman. Used a limited clothing. Apparently, at the time of this incident, of him being put into a stretcher, had been stripped of his clothing or had very limited clothing. Apparently, at the time of this incident occurring, as he targeted these two National Guardsmen, used a handgun to commit it. Apparently, is an Afghan national. I was still trying to get some details on his immigration history, but they were able to use a kind of a rapid fingerprint type technology that is completely electronic. So take out of your...
Oh my God, they got Minority Report type of technology talking about a rapid fingerprint identification. The man half naked, and he had a handgun. Let's go.
On order version where they put the ink on your fingers and check from there. This is all digital, and we're able to check that against the database and come up with this individual's identification. Having seen a photo that we're still trying to confirm of this person and a photo of this person that was on the stretcher, they do appear to be the same individual. So again, Rahmanullah or Rahmanullah Lockenwall from Bellingham, Washington, an Afghan national born in 1996, is the person that the FBI now believes is responsible for this. And as we've been reporting, and as NBC News was first to report tonight, in fact, the FBI is investigating this initially as a potential act of terrorism. Of course, motives can change in the course of the investigation. They can look into that. But at least initially here, this is going to be led by the Joint Terrorism Task Force in Washington, D.C. And this information is now being shared with law enforcement agencies, we're told, across the country, just given the fact that they want to check up on all these things. Certainly officials here in New York are aware of this information. We're told from officials in D.C. Because they wanted people in the law enforcement agencies here in New York.
If y'all could, get in the comments, tell me what y'all think about this man being unclothed. I don't think he was stripped of his clothes. And it being daytime, being in the metro area, him having a handgun, being able to get that close. Where did he come from? What is the details? How did he get there? I see how they tackled him down, but I have a lot of questions. I hope that these broadcasts that we watch, we can get more answers answered. I don't think so, but as time go on, the truth will prevail. Something is weird. But I will add, y'all gonna say, y'all gonna be like, oh, here she go. MK Ultra is real. Okay? All right. I'm just shutting up.
Of who this person was, to see if there's any ties, anybody they need to check. With tomorrow being the 99th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, right now there is not believed to be any sort of specific or credible threat to that, according to an NYPD briefing.
Tom, can I ask you something? And I don't want us to get over our skis here on this, but you point out that the last known location of the suspect was in Washington State, obviously across the country from Washington, D.C. Is there any reason to believe, on the basis of the sources you're talking to, that this individual traveled across the country for the purpose of carrying out this attack? Had they already been, spending time or living in D.C. for a little bit? Do we not know?
That's probably the number one question that they're trying to figure out at this time. Check back on travel schedules, figure out how this person got there. They do have information as far as their driver's license and vehicle. They'll check that. There's obviously license plate readers. We've seen that come into such use by law enforcement over the past several years. And just this year, you look at New Year's Day, that information was so helpful in trying to determine the location and how the individual that attacked New Orleans on New Year's Day, and also remember the incident at the Trump hotel in Las Vegas. That individual had an incendiary device
that arrived at the hotel there, they were able to trace that person's travels through the license plate reader and get an identification. So all of that, Hallie, will go into the investigation. But you've asked the question that Juan.
Now you see how they're bringing up the other incidents with Trump. But why they didn't bring up the incident where Trump got shot in the ear? They don't be talking about that no more. I'm just saying. Because that was a little sus. I'm just being, that was a little sus. But they don't talk about that. But they talk about this. They trying to put a case together. You know how Trump had put the Charlie Kirk bill type. It wasn't his bill, but he came out with that bill after Charlie Kirk. Basically kind of going after people First Amendment rights, to not say talk the way, they want to talk. As y'all know, is a contradiction on everything that he ran. But he used these examples of what happened to him, Charlie Kirk, to like push that bill. Well, wasn't it a bill? I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. Or his I don't know what it was. I forgot it was his executive statement or something. But what that goes to say, I think Trump is going to be writing something else behind this to give him more powers against the people. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Let's go.
Enforcement is desperately trying to figure out at this hour.
And I know you're working the phones to try to figure that out. Tom Winter, thank you for jumping in front of the camera with that developing news late tonight. Appreciate that.
So,
We think.
shout out to NBC News.
Imagine being able to
Hold on
build
one second. We're going to be getting into this now. Again, this is a lone man. This is what they're saying. So we're going to play this right here. Because when you hear this,
near the White House in Washington, D.C.,
when you hear this lone wolf thing, please be wary. Because especially, I'd be tired of hearing the same thing. I mean, they could come up with another line. But again, this is a lone suspect, allegedly. But we're just still in the first 24 hours. So I just want to see what they say, what we can hear a little different, and highlight what's suspect. Because I'm going to tell you what I think Trump is trying to deflect from.
Shooting near the White House in Washington, D.C. 2 National Guardsmen are reported to be in critical condition after what authorities say appeared to be a targeted shooting. A suspect is in custody. Our Washington Bureau Chief Jackson Prosco is following developments. Jackson.
Yo, that's the second person. Now, I was going to say this, y'all. We just talking. I'm keeping y'all company, too, while we talk about that. Who she look like? Who that lady look like? They be cloning people. She look like Angela Jolie a little bit. And the other lady the other broadcaster looked like a little bit like Kamala Harris. Y'all, I'm paying attention too much. I missed y'all. I'm on to go. Why they look like? Don't she look like Angela Jolie? Okay. You know they be giving their cousins jobs and stuff. All right, I got a little distracted, y'all. Hit the like button. Let's go. I'm sorry.
Is following developments. Jackson.
Well, Donna, to set the scene for you, this happened at 2:17 p.m., just about a block away from the White House, outside the entrance to a subway station. Police say the suspect approached 2 National Guard members who were on patrol and shot at them. At some point, there was an exchange of gunfire, and the suspect was also hit. Eyewitness video shows bystanders and other police in the area responding and trying to render aid to the 2 wounded guardsmen. Listen to how bystanders jumped into action upon hearing those gunshots.
The individual, the suspect, came around the corner. He immediately started firing a firearm at the 2 National Guard members. So at that time, there were other National Guard members that were in the area. They heard the gunfire. They actually were able to intervene and to kind of hold down the suspect after he had been shot on the ground until law enforcement got there within moments.
Now, police say there are no other suspects involved. The National Guard, of course, has been patrolling Washington, D.C. on orders of President Donald Trump, who recently extended their deployments until February. It has been controversial, though, and some members of the Guard have previously reported receiving threats, but nothing like this has happened to date. Just last week, a federal judge ruled that the deployment of the Guard in D.C. was illegal, and the judge actually noted that there was a substantial risk of a dangerous or deadly encounter that could be catastrophic for public safety. After this horrible attack, President Donald Trump has asked...
Wait a minute. You see? That's why I be thinking psyops, because when Trump be losing, they got to create a reason for him to win. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. We have all these National Guards, 2,200, they said, walking around, all of these high-tech cameras. Obviously, this guy didn't go from being normal, like just, and then just popped off. It had to be something in the way that he walked, something in the way his demeanor. When you're on a mission, you know, things a little different. I need some more information. That's first. I just need some more information, and then I want to see what the guy had on, because for them to mention that he didn't have clothes on like that much was significant. Did they rip his clothes off after they got in a shootout with him, or was he not totally dressed properly? Which means that he may not have been able to conceal the gun he had. I have so many questions. But yeah, okay, now we have a focal point on, let's say conspiracy wise, where, one group conspire against another. That's what that means. Maybe Trump group is conspiring against people to, brainwash us. That after he loses and the judge says that the National Guard does not need to be in Washington, and this is his, what he called, this is his house, this is where he lives, you don't think that he'll take an extra step? Because he's not known for being, a little bit fraudulent, doing things to create other stuff. That's how businessmen do. We'll move this chess piece to make this move. We'll get what we want. I'm just thinking here, yo. It's just a little bit weird. Now, we're getting more information about this. We're going to get to what I think that they're hiding. Thank you for being here. What do I think they're hiding from and trying to distract us from is actually the shooting that happened in Chicago. The National Guard reputation is kind of aligned with the Border Patrol. And Border Patrol reputation is kind of aligned to, let's say, ICE. So, remember I told you, the National Guard, they're highly esteemed. They're not supposed to be out there, actually doing this. They don't engage people like that. That's not their job. So we haven't heard much about them. But with that goes to say they still have to work in unison. So why not take the purest group out of the three, create a scenario to deflect from some of the things that group 1 and 2 did that's causing lawsuits, national outcries, people busting shots in the ears, tires getting slashed, all types of stuff. That's just what I'm thinking. But again, sometimes I be having my conspiracy mind going. But now, we have 2 videos that show, I think, 2 sets of witnesses. So before we get to what they distracted from, the situation in Chicago, that we have a great update for, because I be telling you, people be lying. I be like, yo, this not right, this not lying. They lying, so this going to be another 8-ball for me, because I did say that they were lying about this incident in Chicago. But before we get there, let's look at these witnesses and see, can we hear anything more of what happened? Thank you for being here this morning. Please hit the like button. Where you at, sir?
Had a person pinned on the ground yelling at him. I walked up and I saw...
Shout out to Rutgers.
They had a person pinned on the ground yelling at him to stay down. And there was broken glass in the bus stop. And then they moved, like it was some sort of construction vehicle or something along those lines. And they moved the vehicle, and that's when we saw 2 National Guards on the ground, and one they were trying to resuscitate.
Okay.
And then
So
at that
one was,
point,
I'm going to say this, because I want to definitely make sure that I'm not just talking. I want to send love to these National Guard and any officer or any person who gets shot, because I don't like it. But one was needing CPR, so it was critical. That may be the one that he walked right up to.
A couple of minutes before there was any response. Like they didn't have anything closed off.
What?
And it was kind of surreal, to be honest with you. And it took us a couple of minutes to realize how serious the situation was. Well, I mean, I feel terrible for the National Guardmen. I mean, they were ordered to be here. They didn't ask for anything like this. I'm sure a lot of them would rather not be here to begin with. And, I did see a couple of guardsmen hugging each other that were very, very upset.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, their faces really, I know they got their nursing face on, because I'll be upset too.
Hard to see that.
It is. It is, because even if I'm calling this a psyops, I don't want y'all to think a psyops mean nobody's hurt, nothing happened. That means that, to me, that some things were set up to cause this type of situation, and it's a psychological operation. That's what psyops mean. Okay, so let's look at this next witness statement and see what they have to say. National Guard member shot in Washington in ambush. You never know what's going to happen. Let's listen to these two. I think these two young ladies. So we got a little bit more from the witness statement. So okay, cleared up some of my concerns about how critical the people were. You know, the people who were shot. I don't want to downplay nobody's injuries, but you know how the news is. I don't trust them.
Maybe that, yeah, it looks like National Guard member was just killed here.
Okay, this is Michael Ryan. So this.
Approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members
Hold
of
on.
the DC.
They got clips from somebody named Michael Ryan, maybe a bystander. Shout out to them that's out there. Hold on.
Yeah, it looks like National Guard member was just killed here.
At approximately 2:15 this afternoon, members of the DC National Guard were on high visibility patrols in the area of 17th and I Street Northwest when a suspect came around the corner, raised his arm with a firearm, and discharged it at the National Guard members. The National Guard members, there were other members that were in the area. They were able to, after some back and forth, able to subdue the individual and bring him into custody. Within moments, members of law enforcement in the area were also able to assist and bring that individual into custody.
Definitely sounded like gunfire, and myself and other people ran. We were across the street.
See, now we're going to hear a little bit more of his witness statement.
So we ran about a half block down.
What was your thought while you were hearing those shots?
Kind of saying, are those gunshots? Pretty much, you know. And then once we got about halfway down I Street, another round of gunshots were heard. So we ran a little bit further down the street. Then, like, there's some people, security guards started coming out. They were like, it's probably just construction. So I walked back to get my lunch to where I was before, and as you know, I witnessed the scene. They had somebody pinned down. They were yelling at him to stay down. Then there was a utility truck that they moved. By this point, there was just one police car there.
Oh man, take note of this utility truck because that may have, I bet you it probably obscured what actually happened. Just a coincidence. I bet you, because I want to see if they actually have video of how it went down. Because you know they have cameras all over, but allegedly you see it was a truck there.
They moved the utility truck on the other side. Unfortunately, we were National Guard men when they were trying to resuscitate. And then there were a couple more National Guard that were kind of hugging each other after obviously very upset. It was a terrible situation to see. It was a little bit surreal at first, you know. Like then I started realizing myself and some other people there that the adrenaline was pretty much running pretty quick. You know, because the second round of shots, made it very obvious.
So then we ran towards the crossing and the doors were locked, but they let us in. Someone said there was a shot staying still inside of it. About 10 minutes later, we saw an EMT truck pull up, and then they left with an empty truck. 2 minutes later, came back with somebody with a Lucas device, and the National Guard member was covered in blood on his head, and there was countless personnel around him.
I think she's talking about a CPR machine, but wait, 10 minutes? There's a lot of time between response time as far as medical and people. Yeah, I thought it was 2,200 guardsmen out there, and they wasn't far from Washington. Why was it such a delay? And one of the things that first guy said, he was a little alarmed that it was kind of open so much afterwards. It took him a while to secure the area. Like, it's a lot of questions for me.
And they put him in a truck, and a minute later they were gone. He was in a stretcher.
Let's listen to that lady.
Personnel.
We'll listen.
Device, and the National Guard member was covered in blood on his head, and there was countless personnel around him, and they put him in a truck, and a minute later they were gone. He was in a stretcher. We saw the empty stretcher go up the street, and then a couple minutes later he came back. His face was covered in blood. No, not moving. So I went to the bathroom and was going to lock myself in, and this family came over to also put their kids inside, because you never know what's going to happen in those situations. But they said, the people came over and said it's fine, this area is, secured, so we felt like it was safe to not lock ourselves in. But at first, that's where everybody's head was at in that moment. But I did feel very safe, knowing that all of the, military personnel.
And again, I want to give disclosure. We don't share anything to put fear in people. We want you guys to be on point, be aware of what's going on. I'll just take a break here real quick because this is a little emotional. And I'm wondering why she keep looking at the other young lady like she's like, what you about to say? But I was just, shout out to my grandma. Today's her birthday. And my grandmother is a real pessimistic. So we was talking about something, and I don't know. She was like, you gotta be very afraid. You gotta be nervous. Da da da. And I'm like, I thought you believed in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Why everything gotta be such a like? I know we can remember what could happen, but please, good things can happen if you listen to the Holy Spirit. He'll tell you where to go and not go. And you just remember, whatever happened to you is supposed to happen. And God won't give you more than you can bear. So I do want to say that when it comes to these traumatizing situations, because again, one of the outcomes of a PSYOPs and the missions of a PSYOPs to me, and I'm not saying it's totally a PSYOPs, it's a question mark, is to invoke fear, confusion, persuasion into some type of thinking. And this will have people like, yeah, the National Guard should be here. Because again, as you see, we're going to progress into what they're going to be doing in Washington. Okay. So I'm going to let y'all watch the rest of that on your time real quick. Shout out to 7 News Australia. Yep. You keep it very diverse. Let me see. Ooh, they got somebody else. Ooh, they got more witnesses. No. Let's listen to the witnesses. Ooh, shout out. Let's go with more. Hold on. America ain't gonna put all these witnesses.
It's scary. I saw the cop cars. I came down and I heard 2 National Guardsmen have been shot.
Let's listen to see what they say.
Someone else got shot, and it was a random attack. So we don't know what's going on right now. But
hitting your goals has
Hold on
nothing to do with discipline. The real.
All right, getting to the audience. Betty, got something good to say? I hope it adds to the conversation. You said, no, we know 6 demon lizards, Draco bloodline, Satan, in little 666. Rebuke that in the name of Jesus Christ. But, yeah, you need your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I rebuke that, Betty. Betty, why would you say that after I talk about Jesus? I be telling y'all, people tapped in. I talked about this yesterday. I don't know you, Betty, but that's weird. People be tapped into demonic forces. So Betty may be a regular person, but then when I start talking about Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, the demon came out saying, no, say these names, say them loud. We rebuke that in the name of Jesus Christ. You put the blood of Jesus over there. That's what I'm talking about, the blood of Jesus. But what are you saying? Are you saying that these people are part of that bloodline? I hope you are, because I kind of agree with that. They have something going on with the elites, if that's what you're trying to say. But please speak in whole sentences, because that looked a little demonic, and I just had to rebuke that. You can't have me reading that stuff loud. That's not what my platform's for. Baby, you represent the Lord. Hit the like button. Let's listen to some of these people. Let's see if we can get witnesses, see what they say. Just a few more minutes. This is interesting, because American news don't do this. They don't let the people talk. This is news.
And I see all the weapons, I see all the Secret Service out, and I was like, okay, something happened. So what happened? So we just keep walking around, and we came up to the spot, and we saw the Secret Service guys. And
these post witnesses?
The troopers, the National Guard guys out there. So it's a pretty scary scene. They don't see that every day. So
we're here to brief you on the tragic events that happened today.
That's when my side came at, because I saw Kash Patel was coming out.
15 local time in Washington, D.C., where 2 of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies.
Okay, let's stop right there. All right, let's move forward. I'm going to let y'all see the rest of that. So now they're having a petition. They're about to petition Hegseth to order 500 additional guardsmen to D.C. following shooting to two soldiers. Now, mind you, it's already 2,200 there. Okay, so this is not about numbers. This is about logistics. This is what I'm talking about. Two, I rebuke the name of Secretary of War. I will not say that that is the name of that. That means that us as United States, we are ushering war and pushing for that. Not Department of Defense where we're defending ourselves. No, Secretary of War. We're planning war. I don't like that, so I repeat that. So the Secretary of War, Hegseth, this afternoon said that the President Donald Trump has requested his order of 500 additional National Guardsmen to Washington in the wake of today's shooting of the two Guardsmen. Now remember, just a couple of days ago, the judge said that he didn't need the National Guards there because what Trump is using these people for, the guards, National Guards, ICE, Border Patrol, as his own personal police. So this is why I think he did this. This is one of the things because he needs to have his own personal police. He may feel like he can't trust the regular police. He can't touch and control them. He can directly control these people. So Hegseth made the announcement from the steps of the Dominican Republican National Place, where he has spent this afternoon meeting with the country's senior leaders. Okay, so let's get to it. Speak a little bit more. So after this meeting, they were notified that 2 National Guards had been shot. So he was already meeting out there in Washington. So we have a lot of elected officials. So I just think that security-wise, there should be more going on. And response time sound like it was terrible. But you tell me what you think. Okay, it says it will not stand. This is his statement. It will not stand, and this is why Trump has asked me, and I will ask the Secretary of Army to tell the National Guard to send 500 additional National Guards to Washington. So he's going to defy the judge's orders and keep the National Guard there because of this particular incident. I hope we find some more information about this particular guy. And you know people are going to do some digging. Maybe that news broadcast was doing that so we could he was pulling the Candice so we could dox stay. Because he done gave us this man name, Ramula, whatever his name is. I got it written down, Ramula. I'm saying it wrong. His date of birth, 2/9/1996. His address. Why? We may can find some stuff out. He may have some links to some things that we need to know about, highlighting that he's an Afghanistan national. As we know that the terror that was created in Afghanistan, those troops were rogue from allegedly CIA-based programs that were training them to fight against terror, in the government. Remember, if I'm saying too much, that's how a lot of these countries got the guns. It's not a joke. I was just talking to my grandma again. Happy birthday, Grandma. It's her birthday kid today. She was like, I was a little nervous. I got to update you guys, just sidebar. Because I said Haiti traveling was good. Haiti traveling was getting better until guess what happened? I think a PSYOPs happened. It was another shooting at the airport where the small planes was leaving. I'm like, this is crazy, a little weird. But she said to directly, she said, you know what? I don't know where all these guns are coming from. How did they get it here? And we got to get the guns are the problem. I said, yep, exactly. So we already knew, and I'm going to highlight it because I lived that with Haiti, that Barbecue, one of the informants that was working with the CIA, was shunning a whole lot of guns into Haiti. Now, again, these are nationals that come from other countries, come here to do stuff, and he was a police. He was a police. Okay? And that's why I'm saying this, because we need to figure out who's this guy from Afghanistan that came here, for asylum, just like the other people that came from the 9/11 thing. They came here for some type of program, and we trained them. I'm just throwing stuff up there. We just thinking, okay? So right now, Something that's happened where it has led Trump to have, feeling like he has the right to bring more National Guards into Washington after the judge's order because of this situation, which I would believe is true because someone physically got hurt. But how did this happen? Now, let's start to close off this live. We're going to talk about what I think they are distracting from and trying to clean up the reputation. I gave y'all the direct connection. Right now, the National Guards are more highly acclaimed and still respected right now as far as the three groups that's dealing with this immigration issue. We'll say National Guards get it like a B- because they're not doing anything, but they're forced. Then we'll talk about the Border Patrol, who gets a F- and ICE that gets a triple F-. So while they're doing all of that, their two brother organizations is cutting up, causing issues. We have the shining star that's not even supposed to be there. I'm just throwing this out there. The National Guard who gets injured in a weird situation like this. Right. I'm not saying they're not injured, but you know what I'm talking about, okay? We're still trying to find out what happened with Trump and why he still got a beautiful ear, talking about plastic surgery. Baby, you supposed to kept that chip ear for a badge of honor. I don't trust you now. Now, this is where I get an 8-ball. Shout out to all of the people on the South Side. I want to say I love you. I'm praying for you guys. Y'all fought a good fight against ICE, the Border Patrol, and it's so sad I have to say that because I know that my uncle was an ICE agent. And I don't know how he would have participated in this if he would have. But we know that they ain't acting right. And I would have told him too, don't talk to me. Nah, you're not about to do this. This would have caused us to have a family rift. Okay? But God bless his soul. He don't have to be subjected to this. But I'm saying this because the South Side in itself, because I got love for both situations. But the South Side, you remember the lady who got shot up 5 times? And I was like, how did this happen? Something is not right. They said that she rammed the officer car just out of the blue, or they were protesting and she did it. Then she had a gun. Remember her and her, so we just going through this again because you're going to listen to her talk. I remember this verbatim. They said that she was a gun in a car. It was her and a guy. The guy got away. They got him at the gas station. And she got shot 5 times and ended up at a mechanic place. They rendered her help, and she ended up being alive. I said the story is not right. They're lying. And now today years old, I get an 8-ball. The charges against the lady has been dropped. And now she is telling her story because they lied. And I think this is what they're trying to cover up because this was just released November 21st. Trump was losing. The judge said no, get him out of here. Portland, no, get him out of here. Chicago pushed the Border Patrol out. That's why I think it's a psyops. So, there we go. This is, hold on, is this it? There she go. You see the beautiful young lady? Look at her. She survived. That was an angel. Thank God for people having their angels. 5 times, and she made it. She was able to drive and get help. God be the glory. That's why I knew they were lying, because if she rammed their car and they was able to shoot at the lady, they would have caught her. She's not MacGyver. She's not all, you know what I'm saying? How was she able to get away from all of these crazy ICE officers, how crazy they were? No, the Border Patrol at this time. All right, so here we go. Text messages. What is this? Text messages and a move SUV. Yes, I forgot that too. And you remember the Border Patrol officer? Let's add that. He drove back to his home with the vehicle, and then they got the car fixed before the, how can I say, investigation was even started or done. And then the lawyers for the young lady in the situation wanted to review, and do their own inspection of the car, and they could not. That was what I missed out. Okay, so we're doing an update on this. How the government case against a Chicago woman shot by the Border Patrol agent fell apart. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And y'all know that they're going to do stuff with all those ads. All right. So even with the federal indictment hanging over her head, claimed she had been a threat to law enforcement, Maria Martinez, shout out to her. Remember that name? That had to be an angel, shot 5 times. Was confident she could eventually prove her innocent. I know the truth, Martinez told CNN's Friday. We're going to watch that in an exclusive interview. I know what really happened that day after an extraordinary reversal by the federal prosecutors in one of the most high-profile cases connected to Operation Midway Bliss in Chicago. That's why his ass got out. A judge dismissed the charges Thursday against Martinez, a United States citizen, not a migrant, not an illegal. That's what I'm telling you. They're hurting regular citizens. It's sad that I have to keep saying, though, even though Miss Martinez don't look like what Mega wants her to look like, doesn't mean she's not a United States citizen. United States citizen, CNN. Why you do that? A judge dismissed the charges on Thursday. So the United States citizen who was accused of ramming the vehicle of a customs border patrol agent in Chicago before he shot her, I do apologize, several times. The ruling from the U.S. District Judge, Ms. Alexia, came after she repeatedly raised concerns about the handling of the investigation, including the revelations that the vehicle of the Border Patrol agent who shot Ms. Martinez was moved 1,000 miles away after the incident, and text messages show the agent apparently bragged about the shooting. Yeah, we can't forget that. Now, there's some pictures of the damages. Remember we saw that, and I was like, ram? And then I think she said that, I don't know, was this the one that they said that they had scraped, like she hit both sides? And I asked, was she Sonic the Hedgehog? There you go. This is your ram. Okay, so Martinez had been accused of aggressively pursuing the CBP agent, Charles, and hitting his car on October 4th as prosecutor aimed against the Trump administration immigration crackdown took place in the city. Now, so that's why I think that this was contrived, because you had judges ruling pending on what was going on out there. And here they go. They had to create an incident that's going to make the judge believe that something is going to happen. Okay? Let's go. Now, we're going to show this. Again, guys, I'm just going to say it. Y'all going to watch. As y'all watch me, I'm going to predict things, and I'm going to see things. And I saw that this was a lie. And again, I'm going to give myself a ball. So, DOJ dropped charges against woman shot by CPD against the Chicago agents. Let's go. Chicago border agents. Let's go. Thank you for being here. Please hit the like button. I know you guys are cooking in the kitchen today. Again, I'm working to get myself in the algorithm so I continue to stream on my streaming equipment. If you want to see those type of broadcasts, please see me in the nighttime where I'm doing my reactions. I just want to do a little infomercial. I am contacting back and forth with YouTube, trying to figure out what's going on with my algorithm. But until then, I need you guys to help me. Hit the like button. Give a sister a little bit of help, okay? Or hit the dislike button. Say something at the bottom. Just let them know, like, hey, I don't like her. Say what you need to say. I'm not mad at you, but as long as we're engaging, and like I said, I don't just need a positive feedback loop here, but I do need critical thinking and respect. So if you are in opposition with people, me, anything on this platform, speak your piece, but make it intelligent, because you want to convince us, right? So make it make sense. So with that, go and say, hit the like button. Y'all know I ain't a Democrat or Republican. I'm a separatist, separating from the BS and calling out all the shh. Let's go.
To begin with breaking news, federal prosecutors have now filed a motion to dismiss charges against a woman that federal agents shot 5 times. Miramar Martinez was accused of closely pursuing a Customs and Border Protection agent and ramming into his car, but her defense attorney has claimed the opposite, saying it was actually the agent who sideswiped Martinez. This happened at 39th and Kedzie back on October 4th. It ended with an agent opening fire. Now prosecutors... Now
it comes out that the agent actually did that, okay? And thank you, Highly Favored, for removing Goofy, but I want to say, I want to respond to Goofy. Now, Goofy, you said, is this another psyops? You're a terrible person. 2 people are dead, and you're acting like it's fake. Now, again, if you were here from the beginning, I told you what a psyops was. At no point do I think these situations are not real and did not happen. But I do believe that this is a psychological operation to change our perspective. Do you get that? Do you get that? Does that say it was fake? It was orchestrated to get us to change our mind or get us distracted from something else that's happening. Goofy. I'm glad you're here, so maybe you could change your name to Proofy. You know what I'm saying? Not Goofy. You gotta grow up here. So again, I send love and blessings to the National Guards, the ICE agents that are doing things right. Again, I didn't hate my uncle. I didn't like his ways, and I respected him. And when he passed away, I didn't hate him or didn't respect him for what he did out there. So don't think I ever disrespect people because of certain things. It's not about that. But I'm not going to let gaslighting, that's what they do. That right there is gaslighting. And manipulation stop people from talking about, their perspective. So first, know what psyops is before you come. 2, watch the video a little bit more. 3, put some respect on my name. And I'm going to say 4, tomorrow we're going to have a great live, okay? Tomorrow we're going to be talking about Trump is losing bad to black girl magic. Okay, that's what we talk about right here. I wanted to talk about that today. We're going to be talking about what's going on with Jasmine Crockett and her possible stance to put the crackdown on Trump, as well as Lolita James, her win against Trump, what to expect about the 40-something count indictment, where, is he going to have to pay? He's going to get a lien on some stuff. We also have a few other black women that he has went after, and we're going to highlight that to show you how he's losing, because that's what I wanted to do today. But because this just happened yesterday, and I was like, oh, snap, I think they're trying to distract us because they need to make these agencies look better. Nothing that I have said today should be disregarded as far as what's going on with this situation, their approach, or anything. I don't want y'all to disregard anything. But what I really want y'all to do is start to think for yourself, okay? Just think for yourself. Use your heart, make it make sense, because they're going to keep on pulling these things on us, and it's not going to make sense. They're going to keep pulling us on emotional roller coasters and having us thinking certain things and just going back and forth, and we're really not getting what we need as a nation. I.e., he's spending billions of dollars on war. He's still spending billions of dollars with other countries while he's trying to eliminate our securities here as American citizens who have become debt slaves. Now tell me, is that a psyops? Tell me, am I tripping? I'm dead serious. We're in a situation that we have to think for ourselves. And that's why I'm here. I'm asking the questions that make people uncomfortable. I always got in trouble for that. And I don't care. I think that's my position. So if I said anything to make you think and go look the other way or look down a rabbit hole, thank you. We have to look into the assailant, okay? Because this gentleman here was an alleged Afghanistan refugee. And I do believe, possibly, let me see if I can get another 8 ball. I'm going to make one more prediction. I believe this man is possibly trained by the United States, connected to some agency in the United States, or something. Mark my words. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your family. I hope you guys have an amazing meal. And whatever vibe that y'all put out today for your family, put it out every day. You know what I'm saying? Because it's power and unity. And that's what we pushing. We pushing power. Have a good day. I'll talk to you guys soon.